Hertfordshire's finest, Skarlet Envy here.
She's coming. Now there's no left to her. She's coming. I bet you wish that you had tried.
I've got Dan, I've got Mike, and one question straight away. When is the next print run of CDs for your debut album, Nemesis, available?
Funny you say that. We have some available.
There you go, that solves my problem, isn't it? How many did you do for the first print run?
25 originally, another 25.
Yeah.
Should have done 50, but...
Were you never having conversations about 100? Because I'm always interested in how artists
Yeah,
want
we
to
had
music.
conversations about how many we would get, but we kind of settled on, particularly just from a financial point of view, we settled on 25. And then when we came to do another 25, because we sold the first 25 quickly, it was very much clear we should have gone to 50 at least, because it was another ridiculous amount.
Yeah.
Or 25 when we could have just got 50 for excellent. Yeah.
So the obvious question, so that album came out in January. Had good reviews from what I've read, other than me reviewing it as well. And especially the song Bleed For Me, which is already the Skarlet Envy anthem now, isn't it? Can we expect more of that on the next record, that kind of heavy chorus?
I think so. I think so. We're going to be writing the next batch of songs now.
Yeah, we've got a few tracks kind of in the works so far, and they are definitely going down that.
It's definitely So it's definitely getting heavier. It's also getting a bit more technical. It's hard to sort of pinpoint because obviously we're such a. We're
it is hard to pinpoint exactly what we're doing, really, because we're just going whatever we like to do, whatever we're feeling on the day.
There's no specific. I'm going to go for a like a death metal track, or it's literally just what we're vibing off each other.
Yeah.
We listen to so much different stuff that everything just literally comes out, which I think is fantastic because
Absolutely.
there's definitely common elements though. You know, there are I want to say signature. There's definitely little bits that you know. There's, for instance, this
you
damn
can kind
track.
of tell that it's like a Skarlet track.
Yeah,
sure. But we bring in as many different elements as we can from depending on really what we've been listening to at that point. If we're feeling like if we've been listening to a lot of like really heavy extreme metals, we bring in a lot of that stuff to the writing session. So we kind of bounce off each other, whatever we've been listening to at that point influences quite heavily, and that's that basically.
Do you remember the last time we spoke with you in an interview, didn't we? Beginning of this year in print, and I was saying Skarlet Envy, alternative metal. I've been thinking about it more, and you know those bands, New Year's Day and This Moment?
Yes.
I never really liked them because I thought, good voice, no content. You've actually given me what I want from that type of music, especially your guitar work. It's like using pop structures and there's some really extreme metal guitar techniques in there, which I love. And then I picked up Dream Theater. I just keep hearing Dream Theater in there as well.
I'm gonna say that I love the fact you pointed this out because when me and Kim did originally start the band, it was very much in this moment. New Year's Day, I listened to it heavily. I've grown up on Dream Theater.
Yeah.
John Petrucci is like my biggest idol next to loads of other people, but I'm glad you pointed that out because it's very difficult when you're sort of standing there writing songs and playing and you think, like, I know what I personally think it will sound like, or
you try and
portraying.
think of it like objectively, like, is this really what people would listen to really? But I think, like you said, the bands I get into these days, sometimes people just don't vibe with it because it's either like too pop oriented or it's got too much of this element, that element. It's difficult to bring in what you think people want to hear whilst also staying true to what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say, is that important to you, trying to work out what people want to hear or not?
So,
Not especially, I don't, when I start writing a track, I don't think, is this going to do well? Are people going to listen to this? I think, this is a cool track, I like how this sounds. And then we build from there, and I think the combination of us building it together sort of brings with it, like kind of the element of what people want to hear, because you've got an outside perspective. Like when I send a riff over to Mike and he's like, yeah, that's cool, but how about this instead of that? And then it's kind of like, okay, yeah, fair, because then I know Mike would then kind of listen to that riff.
Yeah.
And he would listen to that as a track. So I think contributing as a band together, building it kind of piece by piece, does help to bring what people want to hear.
Yeah, because Dan, you're the bassist. Did you know when you say you send a riff to Mike, the guitar player, are you sending him a guitar riff that you recorded on Cubase or whatever, and then you send that over to Mike?
Typically, yes. Yeah, well that's what we did with a lot of the last album, yeah, is kind of send it over a guitar riff or send it over a bass riff and intro, or even like for She's Coming, I sent it over a keys riff.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this could be a cool little thing. And yeah, just ran with it, and it's like, yeah, actually, we can do something like this.
That did snowball the track. That really was just. Again, it was over lockdown, and it was a case of, oh, that's cool. And then I started going with it, and then next thing I know, there's loads more parts to it, and I'm sending it over to Dan. Like, do something with it, please. That tends to be. It's bad. It tends to be my sort of way of like bunch of riffs. I'm like, Dan, which ones do you like, and which ones can you sort of piece together and do something with? Because he's on musical genius. He really is. I do try. It's
Yeah, you've got an encyclopedic knowledge. I look at your Spotify playlist and it's great. You've got everything on there from Devin Townsend, Flesh God Apocalypse. I think you've got Bjork on there, Korn. There's everything on there, and Rammstein. And I was looking, I was like, even if someone has not heard the music, they can look at your playlist. You've got some classical stuff on there, and like, this is intriguing.
Yeah, it changes from year to year, really. If you look back on my Spotify like, listeners, like top 100 or whatever it is, it changes so much from year to year, just because I find new stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm big on a classical kick. So the middle section of that is just all classical music. And then it goes back into extreme metal, and it's like, oh, that's a jump.
Yeah, I've got a question for you, Mike. So I know that you're always looking to improve your skills. You've now got to that stage where you're sweep picking solos, which is impossible for me. When I play guitar, I could never get to that standard. And you've been working with Richard Shaw, haven't you?
Yeah.
And you've really taken on a lot more music theory.
Yes.
What have you noticed in terms of how Mike's writing songs now? And you said you're vibing off each other. Is it more theoretical when he comes to you and says, "Can you play this in a certain key?" Is it like that, or?
It is and it isn't really. He still does the same thing where he kind of writes a riff, and he sends it over, and I'm kind of like, okay, cool. But then we can break it down into theory, and we can go, okay, that's actually in this mode. How about if we try this? And obviously, if you're doing loads of stuff with like module interchange and stuff like that, and it's little things like that where you can pick apart things now and go, how about we use this neat little trick that I learned in my lesson the other day? And we use that, and then we're like, oh, that's actually really good. It sounds really cool. So yeah, it kind of it does and it doesn't happen. I think again depends really on what he's been doing from a lesson point of view. If you've learned something brand new and you're like, it's fresh in your mind, and you're like, I can use this, I'm going to try it. But then sometimes as well, it's just like a little thing where he's like, hang on, I know how to do this now, I can do this.
I think sometimes it is just to the point where if I can learn something new and I want to get better at it, you have to just do it and use it. Same with raised the sweep picking stuff. So She's Coming and Bleed for me. It was a case of learn sweep picking. I was like, got a solo. I'm going to shoehorn some sweep picking into this because there's only one way to get better is to do it more. And it just got to that point where I was just like, okay, shut it in.
And I've seen you do it 3 times live now. The sweep picking technique, so because that's clearly the hardest, isn't it, doing it live? And yeah, I can vouch. I'm going to say this to the camera. If you watch him live, Mike, he does the sweep picking live and makes it look moderately easy. It's never easy.
Pressure now.
And he's going to be doing it again tonight. So, yeah. Alan's here. Our friend Alan. Yeah, just one more question then before we go. Recording output over next year, you said you've already started writing. Where does Kim come into this? You two do the music. Is she involved from the beginning of songs? Is she hearing the riffs? in the incubation period? Or?
She does normally, so between me and Dan we'll normally sort of brainstorm some riffs, some ideas. She'll hear it and she'll say whether she likes it or not, or this needs tweaking before she even writes any lyrics.
Yeah, she knows what she can and can't work with.
Yeah.
So if we send over a riff that is like, for example, we'll send over a riff where adamant is going to be a chorus riff. It's going to be a great chorus, it's really melodic, definitely kind of an anthem, and she goes, there's too much lead in there because I'm going to be copying that lead line, it's going to sound like dog shit. So we're not doing that. Take out the lead line, try this. And we try it and we're like, that does actually sound better. So, or sometimes we'll change it over to like a verse riff or use it in a different track as a breakdown. It really depends on how she feels about it. She knows what she can and can't work with though. She knows what she does and doesn't like with things.
I think the other thing is she actually also writes the song. She'll like do voice recordings of melodies to me. That's how I Pity You was actually written. She done a load of voice recordings of melodies. I went, there you go. And I was like, oh yeah, cool. Oh yeah, sweet. And that's how that was written. So she's obviously really involved from the get-go, and she's the one who's like, no, try this, try that. Just goes from there really.
Yeah. Just gonna dump me some shit.
Yeah, no worries, man. Got a wedding coming up soon, mate, haven't you? December, did you?
Huh? Oh, I've done it.
You did it?
Yeah.
Excellent, congrats.
She's happy now.
Yeah.
For another few months at least.
Excellent. I think we can edit that part out of the interview. But yeah, is there anything you want to say about Nemesis? Obviously it came out in January. Where can people find your music?
All over the place really. We are in the process of setting up a Bandcamp now, so you can purchase it online. This is all the streaming services.
Spotify, iTunes,
yeah.
Apple Music.
Amazon
Excellent.
as well.
Yeah.
All over the place, all the usual places.
How long is your set list now? Because you've been playing together a good, 3 years?
Yeah, we can comfortably do, I think, probably about an hour's set.
That's impressive. So you only have one EP and one album?
Yes.
That is, but you, like you said, you're practicing all the time, 2 hours swapping ideas, aren't you? So, excellent, yeah. Thank you very much. So, once again, Nemesis, the debut album from Skarlet. Check it out. You definitely need to hear this record.